Yeah, I wouldn't want anything huge.
It's not a big house.
All right, this is the village, whoops, I thought you had to go.
I really want that done.
This is the Village of Peotone Board meeting for March 24, 2014. We begin by rising to say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Reichert?
Here.
Mr. Hupkey?
Here.
Mr. Wicker?
Here.
Mr. Hack?
Here.
Mr. Callahan?
Here.
Mr. Forsythe?
Here. Okay, let the record show that all trustees are present and we have an official forum to conduct business. Trustees, in your packet are the minutes of the March 10, 2014 Village of Peotone Board meeting. We'll entertain a motion to adopt the minutes approve the minutes rather as presented, or if you see a reason to correct them, please let us know the correction.
I'll make a motion, we approve the minutes of the March 10th regular village meeting.
Second. Motion by trustee Hupkey, seconded by trustee Hack, to approve the March 10, 2014 regular village board meeting minutes as presented. Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Hupkey?
Yes.
Mr. Hack?
Yes.
Mr. Callahan?
Yes.
I'm sorry, can I take that back?
Yes, you may.
Present.
Mr. Forsythe?
Present.
Mr. Reichert?
Yes.
And Mr. Wicker?
Yes.
Okay. Motion carries, the minutes are approved, become the official record. Next item are the accounts payable and the payroll. Trustees, you have in your packet the payroll for the pay period ending March 15 of 2014 in the amount of $47,713.49. And accounts payable from the general fund, bills totaling $11,542.58. And in the water and sewer fund, bills totaling $2,663.86. Making a grand total for general fund, water and sewer fund bills of $14,206.44. This is one of our nicer meetings, we have low bills. Is there a motion to pay the bills?
I make a motion, we pay the bills.
Motion by trustee Wicker, seconded by trustee
I'll second.
Reichert, to pay the bills as noted in the record. Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Wicker?
Yes.
Mr. Reichert?
Yes.
Mr. Hupkey?
Yes.
Mr. Forsythe?
Yes.
Mr. Callahan?
Yes.
Mr. Hack?
Yes. Okay, motion carries and the bills will be paid as noted. We come up to public comment and/or questions from the audience. We have none? I'm going to take an opportunity. Oh, go ahead, Doreen.
Is it okay? Okay.
Yeah.
I just want to let everyone know that we still have state tax forms at the library, if anyone is looking for state
Oh,
forms.
for tax?
For taxes,
Income
yes.
tax.
We never did get federal forms. IRS says most people are now downloading their own forms or doing them online, but we do have state forms if anyone needs them.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you for letting us know about that. And thank you for continuing to offer that service to folks. Yeah, I'm going to offer a couple of comments before we move on with the agenda. One is, you may have noticed as I stood up to do the pledge, and I have here a neckerchief presented to me by the Scouts and Boy Scout Troop 315 at the Eagle Scout Award ceremony on last Sunday. And it was a surprise to me. It was nice, too. The Eagle Scouts we have in Peotone probably more per capita than just about any other place, and very active troop. Literally dozens of kids who work hard to serve their community and do community service projects that benefit all aspects of the community and the surrounding area. So I told the guys when they gave it to me, as it was a surprise, I said, and somebody joked and said, I suppose you'll wear it at the next board meeting. I said, yes, I will. I proudly wear it. Another announcement has to do with the State of the Village message a couple of weeks ago. We gave that at the high school auditorium. And I understand from the folks at WPAL that it will be airing on the cable channel sometime soon following the airing of this meeting. We are awaiting some technical things to get it posted to our website, the connection that will also enable you to get it, go to YouTube and see it. So be looking at the website for that. Having made those comments, I'm going to go back to the regular agenda. We go to the reports of committees, officials, and staff. The clerk, collector, and treasurer reports trustees, are in your packet, and they indicate the income that we've had for various sources and how we're doing on our budget. Unless there are any questions on that, we're going to move on to the next item, which is the police chief's report. Chief?
Mr. Mayor, I know I'd like to keep everybody here for hours and hours. I'm going to hold off. I know at the next meeting I'll be bringing a report on our crime reports of last year and rest, some comparisons of how things are going in our community. But I'll have that for you at the next board meeting. I won't take up a lot of time going over it, but other than that, we're just hoping, people got to understand that so we had to write some people for snow tickets because they won't move their cars. Village stickers are due. We're not going to immediately, April 1st, go out and start looking for those. We have some other things we want to try to accomplish, but trying to remind people of regulations that are present, and so we took a lot of made people unhappy about snow removal. They just don't know what 2 inches are and when it falls, and nobody watches Weather Channel anymore. So I don't think the police department is going to get any cookies in the next month for many people loving us, because there was some people disgruntled about the snow tickets, but I guess we can move on with that. But I'm glad spring is finally coming.
You and everybody in this room, and
Yeah,
everybody
so-
watching.
And I'm hoping that big mound of that iceberg they have by the Legion, there's nothing underneath it that's unpredicted.
Yep. We still do have a couple places in town where the ice is still up, but by and large, at least the end of my driveway, is green now. Well, not green, but brown. All right. Can we move on to the engineer's report? Troy?
I have nothing new to update.
Okay. Old business, the grant scope of work relative to the Illinois Bond Fund infrastructure grant. George?
As you are aware, the village has been awarded a $100,000 grant from the state for infrastructure projects. Costs for many of the identified projects exceeded the grant award, the amount of the grant award. Emergency generators that prove the lift stations remain in need and fall within the project scope. In addition, the funds may also be used to grind and pave streets, but not for filling potholes. However, they can be part of a street resurfacing project. This grant could be used to supplement local funds for paving projects. And while the grant application doesn't have a near time limit, we do need to be making a decision. And if we can make a decision, it makes it easier to place it in the budget, as we hope to have the budget in the next meeting. So,
George, I still think we need to strongly consider that bike path along Wilmington Road. I know this will pay for half of it. I think we owe it to the safety of the residents. I still feel if there was a fatality over there, we wouldn't even be discussing that. It would already be in.
I've indirectly talked to the Will County Highway Department, and it seems as though they won't be, there's no suggestion that they would obstruct or cause us any problems with putting it in, provided that we meet the, certain requirements. I think we've kind of talked about what those requirements might be. But, I don't think that we'll have a problem with county as far as wanting to put it in. And if we can make sure that we meet those requirements, I think we really need to look at that as an option. And it seems like the county will support us in getting it done.
okay. We're talking, as I recall, 100 to 120,000, maybe 130,000 that we'll need to additional from us. The only way we're going to get that kind of money is to reduce some of the paving for this year. I mean, that's
It's a choice.
pretty much it.
Yeah.
You know, if we were talking $20,000 or $30,000, then maybe we could do something, but when we're talking six figures, that's the only six-figure item left in the general fund.
I think what it really comes down to is how much longer do we want kids walking in the street? On a street where cars are traveling at least 45 miles an hour. And I think the answer is as little additional time as possible. And I'm not ready to say we should scrap paving, but I think my priorities lie on getting those kids out of the street.
I thought the stop and go light was my priority damn near 12 years ago.
Yeah.
And that was the same reason, for two kids with a bicycle. And I tell you, when we had that proposal, we had problems with the people from that subdivision opposing it. I don't know if Rich was around here when we were there, and Donna was still there. We had this place filled up with people from there, so. I'm not against it, I brought that up, I was the original one that brought that up. We wanted a sidewalk. The county turned us down.
If the county is on our side this time, and we really.
They're on our side, we were on them for money. Same thing to help us, we were gonna try to do something, and they turned us down. What kind of participation, what are they gonna give us? What are they gonna do to help us?
I think we're gonna get approvals. I'm not sure we're gonna get anything more than that.
Just approvals. You're not sure though, right?
Well, I mean, we'd have to come up with the specifics and present them, so I
Yeah.
can't say it for sure. But the suggestion, the indication is it looks like they would sign off on the idea, but I don't think we're gonna get any monetary contribution. I think
And
we're
that's when we fell back on the bike path
Mhm.
versus the sidewalk, because the sidewalk was just a no-go.
The
So
bike
The
path,
bike path was
I
getting some
think
palatable.
probably the consensus is, I don't care what you call it,
Yeah,
let's get
just
something,
get
kids
something there so
off
the
the
kids can
street.
do it.
Right.
And
So-
get across the street so they can get to the fairgrounds and the park and.
Mhm. And it's all the kids walking to McDonald's among other things.
Right. And I anticipate we'll be the ones footing the bill on it, but I think if we put our heads together, we can make it happen.
Okay, now I have to ask the question. And the question is, if we via consensus say, this is the direction we're gonna go, but we gotta figure out how to scrub up the other $125,000, and we basically tell them, this is what we're going to do with the money, it locks us into it, number one, correct?
Once we complete the formal grant application, I'm not aware that there's a way to change that, no. So we're, that's, the formal grant application is that component of the project that is a little more open-ended. Where we really need to do is decide, are we going to incorporate it into the budget?
Okay.
The other, not only this, which is fairly straightforward, that's not a problem, incorporating this into the budget, but the other 125,000 or 130,000. That's what we've got to be able to put into the budget.
We've got to
Use
find
it
out
this
the
year.
other 130,000.
Yeah.
And that would get back to, you gotta pull something from somewhere and put it somewhere else. If it is the desire of this group to say this is a priority, and we'll just do that, and we'll take the heat for not putting the money on the streets.
Well, we'll see what our MFT balance is, we'll see if we can do some other things. I mean, it's not like we're just going to totally abandon any concept of doing the streets, but.
No, but it's gonna greatly restrict what we have available to do.
A third of the money we had allocated was coming out of the general fund for this line item, so. yeah.
Do we have any leeway on special assessments?
Yeah, we can, if you guys decide you want to go this direction, we can look at some options like special service areas and special assessments and see if this might be a good fit for something like that.
Because we're opening the door to foot traffic to several companies on Wilmington Road, and that might be
So you're looking at taxing the businesses as opposed to taxing everybody.
I'm not saying let's go that way, I'm just saying let's see what our options are.
Okay, well, we will see what we can do. And we may have maybe part of a discussion at a committee meeting, and then so we can get accomplished to have a budget presented at the next meeting.
Okay. Everybody okay with that? All right, we'll move on to the next item then, which is an ordinance amending the zoning code concerning regulations of the cultivation and the dispensing of medical cannabis.
Last summer, Governor Quinn signed into law House Bill 1, the Compassionate Use of Medical Cannabis Pilot Program Act, the Medical Marijuana Act. The law is effective January 1, 2014. However, 3 state agencies have 120 days from the effective date to establish regulations for the program. As applications cannot be submitted to the state until these regulations are in place, it is unlikely businesses will open before the summer of 2014. The Act specifically states local governments may not prohibit cultivation and dispensing sites from locating in the village. Municipalities may, however, adopt zoning standards to place these facilities in appropriate locations with reasonable conditions. Last December, the village board adopted a resolution requesting the Planning and Zoning Commission to conduct public hearing on the topic and to recommend rules and regulations concerning the cultivation and dispensing of medical cannabis. Planning and Zoning Commission has recommended an ordinance regulating those uses. Both uses would require a special use permit and be available only in the I-2 industrial classification. Additional details are found in the attachments. Basically, the requirements are that be amended to incorporate setbacks from various types of schools, specifically in the text, which are also reflected in the state code, and also to require the site plan, security plan, and signage plan as part of the special use permit application go before the village, go before the Planning and Zoning Commission, not just under administrative review. And those have been those changes have been incorporated into the ordinance. The special use does not run with the land, so if one company would bring in a cultivation center, a dispensing center, and they tried to sell it, there are all kinds of state hoops they would have to jump through, but even if they could do that, it would still come in as a new special use to the village. In other words, it doesn't transfer. Okay. I would just repeat that basically under the guidelines of state law, it's impossible for a cultivation, a growing center, to be placed within the village limits, simply because of 2,500-foot setbacks from areas zoned residential and schools, etc. So those would not be in the current village limits. And the locations for a dispensing center are very, very limited when you look at the setbacks. And the fact that they're confined to an industrial zone, the I-2 industrial zone. So the ordinance is before you for your consideration of possible action.
Okay. This would be ordinance 13-27, an ordinance amending chapter 157, the zoning code, of the Peotone zoning ordinance, of the Code of Peotone concerning the regulation of medical cannabis. Is there a motion to adopt ordinance 13-27?
Motion.
Motion by trustee Forsythe, seconded by trustee Riker, to adopt ordinance 13-27, an ordinance amending chapter 157 of the zoning code of the Peotone zoning ordinance of the Code of Peotone concerning regulation of medical cannabis. Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Forsythe?
Yes.
Mr. Riker?
Yes.
Mr. Hupkey?
Yes.
Mr. Wicker?
Yes.
Mr. Hack?
Yes.
And Mr. Callahan?
Yes. Motion carries. Ordinance 13-27 is officially adopted. Is there anything else to come before the board? Got announcements? I made that announcement. And the chief made the announcement relative to the vehicle stickers, April 1st being the,
April 1st begins the penalty. There is a $10 penalty on each sticker beginning with the
and those of us who bought the stickers, but the weather's been too crummy to put them on, have to get them on by April 1st. That's what we'll be doing in the next year or two.
shirt. Because the tickets that are issued are for failure
To
to
display.
display. So
Yeah, I
keeping
know.
them in your glove box doesn't do you any good.
I know. All right, any other announcements relative to,
Water bills will be mailed the last day of the month.
seems like we just mailed them.
I know.
Okay. Starting that cycle again. All right. If there are no further announcements, then I would ask for an emotion to adjourn the Village of Peotone Board meeting for March 24, 2014.
Motion.
Second.
Motion by trustee Forsythe, seconded by trustee Hupkey to adjourn the Village of Peotone Board meeting for March 24, 2014. Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Forsythe?
Yes.
Mr. Hupkey?
Yes.
Mr. Wicker?
Yes.
Mr. Riker?
Yes.
Mr. Hack?
Yes.
Mr. Callahan?
Yes.